Welcome back to Atomic Habits, Part 3, then Second Law, Make It Attractive. Chapter 8, How to Make a Habit Irresistible. My name is Chris, and I'm a physiotherapy student. The red dotted beak. In the 1940s, a Dutch scientist called Nico Tinbergen performed a series of experiments that transformed our understanding of what motivates us. Tinbergen, who eventually won a Nobel Prize for his work, was investigating herring gulls, the grey and white birds often seen flying along the seashores of North America. Adult herring gulls have a small red dot on their beak, and Tinbergen noticed that newly hatched chicks would peck this spot whenever they wanted food. To begin one experiment, he created a collection of fake cardboard beaks, which just a head without body. When the parents had flown away, he went over the nest and offered these dummy beaks to chicks. The beaks were obvious fakes, and he assumed the baby birds would reject them altogether. However, when these tiny gulls saw the red spot on the cardboard beak, they pecked away just as if it were attached to their own mother. They had a clear preference for those red spots, as if they had been genetically programmed at birth. Soon, Tinbergen discovered that the bigger the red spot, the faster the chicks pecked. Eventually, he created a beak with 3 large red dots on it. When he placed it over the nest, the baby birds went crazy with delight. They pecked at the red patches as if it was the greatest beak they had ever seen. It's like the brain of each animal is preloaded with certain rules of behavior, and when it comes across an exaggerated version of that rule, it lights up like a Christmas tree. Scientists refer to these exaggerated cues as supernormal stimuli. A supernormal stimulus is a heightened version of reality, like a beak with 3 red dots, and it elicits a stronger response than usual. Humans are also prone to supernormal stimuli. Now more than ever, rewards are concentrated and stimuli are more enticing. Junk food is more concentrated forms of calories, hard liquor is a more concentrated form of alcohol, video games are a more concentrated form of play. Compared to nature, these pleasure-packed experiences are hard to resist. We have the brain of our ancestors, but temptations that they never had to face. If you want to increase the odds that a behavior will occur, then you need to make it attractive. Throughout our discussion of the second law, our goal is to learn how to make our habits irresistible. While it's not possible to transform every habit into a supernormal stimulus, we can make any habit more enticing. To do this, we must start by understanding what a craving is and how it works. We begin by examining a biological signature that all habits share, the dopamine spike. Dopamine is the gateway to desire. Without desire, action stops. Dopamine depleted rats wouldn't eat. The ability to experience pleasure from sugar remained, but without dopamine, desire died. It simply stops craving. Habits are a dopamine-driven feedback loop. Every behavior that is highly habit-forming, taking drugs, eating junk food, playing video games, is associated with higher levels of dopamine. The same can be said for our most basic habitual behaviors like eating food, drinking water, having sex, and interacting socially. When it comes to habits, the key takeaway is this. Dopamine is released not only when you experience pleasure, but also when you anticipate it. When it comes to habits, as a child, thinking about Christmas morning can be better than opening gifts. As an adult, daydreaming about an upcoming vacation can be more enjoying than actually being on vacation. Scientists refer this as the difference between wanting and liking. The dopamine spike. Before a habit is learnt, A. Dopamine is released when the reward is experienced for the first time. The next time around, B. The dopamine rises before taking action, immediately after a cue is recognized. This spike leads to a feeling of desire and a craving to take action whenever the cue is spotted. Once a habit is learnt, dopamine will not rise when a reward is experienced because you already expect the reward. However, if you see a cue and expect a reward but do not get one, the dopamine will drop in disappointment. The sensitivity of the dopamine response can clearly be seen when a reward is provided late. First, the cue is identified and dopamine rises as a craving builds. Next, a response is taken, but the reward does not come as quickly as expected, and the dopamine begins to drop. Finally, the reward comes a little later than you had hoped. Dopamine spikes again. It is as if the brain is saying, "See, I knew I was right. Don't forget to repeat this action next time." Desire is the engine that drives behavior. Every action is taken because the anticipation that precedes it is a craving that leads to the response. These insights reveal the importance of the second law of behavioral change. We need to make our habits attractive because it is the expectation of a rewarding experience that motivates us to act in the first place. This is where the strategy known as temptation bundling comes into play. Temptation bundling. Roland Bryan, an electric engineering student in Dublin, Ireland, enjoyed watching Netflix, but he also knew that he should exercise more often than he did. Putting his engineering skills to use, Bryan hiked his stationary bike and connected it to his laptop and television. Then he wrote a computer program that would allow Netflix to run only if he was cycling at a certain speed. If he slowed down for too long, whatever he was watching would pause until he started pedaling again. He was, in the words of one fan, eliminating obesity one Netflix binge at a time. He was also employing temptation bundling to make his exercise habit more attractive. Temptation bundling works by linking an action you want to do with an action you need to do. In Bryan's case, he bundled watching Netflix, the thing he wanted to do, with riding his stationary bike, the thing he needed to do. Temptation bundling can be used together with habit stacking with the formula of 1. After current habit, I will habit I need. 2. After habit I need, I will habit I want. For example, if you want to read the news but you need to express more gratitude. 1. After I get my morning coffee, current habit, I will say one thing I'm grateful for what happened yesterday, the need. After I say one thing I'm grateful for, and then I will read the news, what I want. Chapter summary. The second law of behavioral change is make it attractive. The more attractive an opportunity is, the more likely it is to become habit-forming. Habits are a dopamine-driven feedback loop. When dopamine rises, so does our motivation to act. It is the anticipation of a reward, not the fulfillment of it, that gets us to take action. The greater the anticipation, the greater the dopamine spike. Temptation bundling is one of the ways to make your habits more attractive. The strategy is to pair an action you want to do with an action you need to do. Atomic Habits, Part 3, Chapter 9, The Role of Family and Friends in Shaping Your Habits. A story about the role of friends and family. Chess. 3 girls are raised in an environment full of chess, no matter it's the pictures on the walls or anything else. And the 3 girls raised became 3 masters of chess. They are raised in a world where obsession of chess is normal. The seductive pool of social norms. In many ways, these social norms are invisible rules that guide your behavior each day. You're always keeping them in mind, even if they're not at the top of your mind. Often, you follow the habits of your culture, without thinking, without questioning, and sometimes without remembering. Behaviors are attractive when they help us fit in. We imitate the habits of 3 groups in particular: the close, the many, and the powerful. The close. Proximity in both physical and social environments has a powerful effect on our behavior. We pick up habits from the people around us. We copy the way our parents handle arguments, the way our peers flirt with one another, and the way our co-workers get results. When your friends smoke pot, you give it a try too. When your wife has a habit of double-checking that the door is locked before going to bed, you pick it up as well. Our friends and family provide a sort of invisible peer pressure that pulls us in their direction. Peer pressure is not necessarily positive or negative, it's bad only if you're surrounded by bad influences. Nothing sustains motivation better than belonging to a tribe. It transforms a personal quest into a shared one. The shared identity reinforces your personal identity. It's friendship and community that embed a new identity and help behaviors last over the long run. The many. This is a representation of 2 cards used by Solomon in his famous social conformity experiments. The length of the line on the first card is obviously the same as line C, but when a group of actors claimed it was a different length, the research subjects would often change their minds and go with the crowd rather than believe their own eyes. The more the actors, the greater the conformity. Humans are similar. There is tremendous internal pressure to comply with the norms of the social group. The reward of being accepted is often greater than the reward of winning an argument, looking smart, or finding the truth. Most days, we'd rather be wrong with the crowd than be right by ourselves. The human mind knows how to get along with others. It wants to get along with others. It's our natural mode. We can override it. We can choose to ignore the group or to stop caring what other people think. But it takes work. Running against the grain of your culture requires extra effort. When changing your habits means challenging the tribe, change is unattractive. When changing your habits means fitting in with a tribe, the change is very attractive. The powerful. We are drawn to behaviors that earn us respect, approval, admiration, and status. It is one reason we care so much about the habits of highly effective people. We try to copy the behavior of successful people because we desire success ourselves. Many of our daily habits are imitations of people we admire. The high-status people enjoy approval, respect, and praise of others. We find it attractive. Habits and behaviors maintain their attractiveness in part because they were valued by the culture. Chapter summary. The culture we live in determines which behaviors we are attractive to. We tend to adopt habits that are praised and approved by our culture because we have a strong desire to fit in and belong to the tribe. We tend to imitate the habits of 3 social groups: the close, the many, and the powerful. One of the most effective things you can do to build better habits is to join a culture where your desired behavior is the normal behavior and you already have something in common with the group. The normal behavior of the tribe often overpowers the desired behavior of the individual. Most days, we'd rather be wrong with the crowd than be right by ourselves. If the behavior can get us approval, respect, and praise, we find it attractive. Chapter 10. How to find and fix your causes of your bad habits. James asked one of the Turks how he got started. Friends, he said. It always starts with your friends. One friend smokes, then you try it. He broke the habit because of the book Alan Carr's Easy Way to Stop Smoking. It frees you from the mental burden of smoking, he said. It tells you, stop lying to yourself. You know you don't actually want to smoke. You know you don't really enjoy this. It helps you feel like you're not the victim anymore. You start to realize that you don't need to smoke. Over and over, he repeats these phrases and others like them. Get it clearly into your mind, he says. You're losing nothing, and you're making marvelous positive gains, not only in health, energy, and money, but also in confidence, self-respect, freedom, and, most important of all, in the length and quality of your future life. By the time you get to the end of the book, smoking seems the most ridiculous thing in the world to do. And if you no longer expect smoking to bring you any benefits, you have no reason to smoke. It is an inversion of the second law of behavioral change. Make it unattractive. Every behavior has a surface-level craving and a deeper underlying motive. The underlying motive is to obtain food and water, even if my specific craving is for a taco. Find love and reproduce using Tinder. Win social acceptance and approval posting on Instagram. There are many ways to address the same underlying motive. Habits are all about association. Every time you perceive a cue, your brain runs a simulation and makes a prediction about what to do in the next moment. You see a cue, categorize it based on past experience, and determine the appropriate response. Life seems reactive, but is actually predictive. The cause of your habits is actually the prediction that precedes them. Feelings and emotions transform the cues we perceive and the predictions we make into a signal that we can apply. A craving is the sense that something is missing. It's the desire to change your internal state. To summarize, the specific cravings you feel and habits you perform are really an attempt to address your fundamental underlying motives. Whenever a habit successfully addresses the motive, you develop a craving to do it again. In time, you learn to predict that checking the social media will help you feel loved, and watching YouTube will allow you to forget your fears. Habits are attractive when we associate them with positive feelings, and we can use this insight to our advantage rather than to our detriment. How to pre-program your brain to enjoy hard habits. Associate hard habits with positive experience. All you need is a slight mindset shift. Positive language, reframing habits to highlight the benefits, and motivation ritual. Positive language. We often talk about everything we have to do in a given day. We have to wake up early for work, have to make another sales call, have to cook for dinner. You can simply change the word have to get to. You get to wake up early, you get to make another sales call, and you get to cook dinner for your family. By simply changing one word, you shift the way you feel each event. You transition from seeing these behaviors as burdens and turn them into opportunities. Second, reframing your habits to highlight their benefits. Highlighting the benefits of habits rather than their drawbacks is a fast and lightweight way to reprogram your mind and make a habit seem more attractive. Exercise. Many people associate exercise with being a challenging task that drains energy and wears you down. You can just as easily view it as a way to develop skills and build you up. Instead of telling yourself, I need to go run in the morning, say, it's time to build endurance and get fast. Motivation ritual. Say you want to feel happier in general. Find something that makes you truly happy, like petting your dog or taking a bubble bath, and then create a short routine that you perform every time before you do the thing you love. Maybe you take 3 deep breaths and smile. 3 deep breaths, smile, pet the dog, repeat. Eventually, you'll begin to associate this breathe and smile routine with being in a good mood. It becomes a cue that makes you feeling happy. Once established, you can break it out anytime you need to change your emotional state. Stress at work, take 3 deep breaths and smile. Sad about life, 3 deep breaths and smile. Once a habit has been built, the cue can prompt a craving, even if it has little to do with the original situation. Chapter summary. The inversion of the second law of behavioral change is make it unattractive. Every behavior has a surface-level craving and a deeper underlying motive. Your habits are modern-day solutions to ancient desires. The cause of your habits is actually the prediction that precedes them. The prediction leads to a feeling. Highlight the benefits of avoiding a habit to make it seem unattractive. Habits are attractive when we associate them with positive feelings, and unattractive when we associate it with negative feelings. Create a motivation ritual by doing something you enjoy immediately before a difficult habit.